So here's Jamie with his top 10 films of 2016 that we're going to spread across the next 25 minutes or so, peppered with some top tunes. That's kind of that's the rub. So where would you like to start, Jamie? And what qualifies as one in your top 10?
Well, it's what qualifies for my top 10 really is films that I would like to watch again. And films that I've come out of and I've thought, wow, that's brilliant. Or I've gone out and bought as well. Mm-hmm. Some of these I've actually gone out and bought now because a lot of them are out on DVD, Blu-ray, and download and everything now. So that really constitutes it. And things I've gone back to and maybe watched a couple of times since they've come out, or going to see them twice at the cinema because I've enjoyed them that much.
And look, I must just say, you do pay for yourself twice at the cinema as well, don't you?
I do, yes.
We don't accept gratuities here at the BBC, and that's how much Jamie likes it. He pays to go and see it twice. Yes, so that's a good enough reason for me. Jamie, what is at number 10?
Number 10, I'm going to go for Captain America's Civil War. Now, this was the big Marvel movie from this year, and we are going to see loads and loads of Marvel movies. We had Doctor Strange as well. We've got the Avengers, Infinity War. We've got Thor and all those big characters coming back again. But this one brought together Captain America and Iron Man going against each other, because basically what the government wanted to do was put them into categories, basically register the superheroes. And Captain America didn't agree with it, where Iron Man did.
So they had a big fight-off. Yeah. Is that what you call it, a battle-off?
They had a big fight, but introduced a new Spider-Man as well, which we're going to be seeing next year.
These films are clearly huge. They're not for everyone, though, but people that see them, they tend to love them. Tell me about, as a bigger question, these Marvel cinemas, cinematic universe, whatever you would call it, Marvel films, they're their own entity now, or they're part owned by Disney, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
So these films, though, what is the secret to their success?
I think it's because they're all connected. Characters can appear in different films.
Because you would have thought that would go against its success, because if because would you go and see this if you haven't seen the others? Yeah, can you come late to the party, Jamie?
You can. That's the great thing about them. All of them are individual. Okay, you might not know some of the characters, but they're all an individual story. They're not two-parters, or they're not. There's been, I think, 18 films now, so you can just dip into them and watch them. Certain people might not like the science fiction side of things, so they might not like Guardians of the Galaxy, or they might not like the magic side of things with Doctor Strange. But there's something to enjoy here. You have to remember that comic books have been around forever, and some of these characters have been around for 50, 60 years. So there's been fans of these for a long time. So I think this is why they do so well. It isn't just a geeky thing. Okay. People have grown up with these things.
Well, this is a film that would have had a lot of publicity, a lot of press. That's number 10. So you've got some other ones here that perhaps are less known, number 9 and 8 as well.
Definitely. Number 9 for me is a film that came out of nowhere, and it's a film by a writer-director called Jeff Nichols, who did a film a few years ago called Mud, which I thought was really good with Matthew McConaughey. And he basically has made a film called Midnight Special. Now, this you might think this is a film about religion and faith and things like that, but it's about a young boy called Alton, who is basically there at one of those communes, one of those religious communes where they're in America, where they basically just distance themselves from the rest of the world, and it usually has one religious leader who they follow, and it just happens to be him. Now his father breaks back in and steals him out of this commune because he isn't actually what he seems.
It's a mystery.
It's something from, let's just say, another world. So it's got a science fiction twist to it.
And why is this in your top 10, Jamie?
Because it feels very much like one of those 70s science fiction movies, something like a Starman or something like that. And it's really based on performances. It's Michael Shannon's played the lead role in there. You've got Kirsten Dunst, you've got Adam Driver as well, and Joel Edgerton, who I think is a fantastic actor. And it's just really well written, really well produced, and something that I wasn't really expecting. I went in there not knowing really what it was about, and it just blew me away. Now, this is out on DVD and Blu-ray already, so please go out and rent it or buy it, even add it to your collection, because I just think it's one of those films that will stay with you, and one of those films that you will think that was really, really good. And it's one of those films what you'd like to introduce other people to.
Okay. And number 8, you've gone for The Nice Guys.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know anything about this. What is this about?
Now, this is from Shane Black. Now, you might recognise the name. He wrote and directed Iron Man. He'd done Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, but he also wrote all the Lethal Weapon films.
Okay.
Okay. And he is...
now, don't try and go into the plot, because I'm looking at this now. I would say keep things simple. Set it up ever so briefly if you can.
This is set in 1977 Los Angeles, and it's basically a private eye played by Ryan Gosling, and he's got a case what he's looking for, but he's been told not to look into it by Russell Crowe's character, who basically comes up and punches him in the face and says, "No, don't start looking into."
So it's these two sparring off against each other.
Yeah, so they sort of end up coming together and starting to investigate this case, which I'm not going to spoil because it's one of those twist and turns films, but it's very, very funny.
There's the name Ryan Gosling I'm hearing everywhere. He's clearly a bit of a darling of Hollywood, isn't he?
He's coming up in La La Land, which opens in January, but he's also going to be in the new Blade Runner film, which is out in October. Yes, so it's a very funny. It's a brilliantly written script, superb performances, great 70s setting. So it's got a brilliant 70s soundtrack. And the only thing I didn't like about it is because I think it should have been a TV show, because I would watch these guys week in, week out, because they are brilliant. The chemistry between Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling was fantastic, and I really hope that they do some sequels to these, because them two investigating stuff is hilarious.
Very good. So it's a funny one. That's The Nice Guys at number 8.
We're the world's worst detectives.
Got a cool head, though. I made your head small because I know you're sensitive about how big it is. Yeah.
What's number 7?
Number 7 is The Girl with All the Gifts. Now, this is a British movie, and it's a British horror movie, which we don't tend to do a lot of. Okay. We tend to do a lot of like costume dramas. And
what can you tell us?
But this one is set in the near future, and it's another one of those zombie films. But before you start going, zombie movies, this is very different. It's about a group of kids, actually, who are infected with the zombie virus, but they haven't turned. And it's about a young girl, who's the girl with all the gifts, who can actually control some of the zombies.
This is based on a book, isn't it?
Yeah, it's based on a book, and it stars Gemma Arterton and Paddy Considine, Glenn Close as well. And it's another one of those films what just came out of nowhere for me. And I saw the trailer about a week before it came out, and then I went to see it at a little bit of a preview, and it was fantastic. It was really, really good. It gripped me. I thought the action was really good, but most of all, it was a well-written story.
Is that the best way to see a film, not knowing much about it? Because what does that say about trailers and things?
I think sometimes trailers give far too much away, and the great thing about this one is you didn't really know what was going on. They didn't really explain where the virus came from. They just said it was getting worse, and they was trying to find a cure for it.
And Glenn Close, you say, it must be quite high.
Yeah. It's one of those films what, as I said, just came out of nowhere, and I think it's one of the best zombie films I've seen in a long time.
I'm not a big fan of horror. Though.
I know you're not a big fan.
Would I like this, Jamie? Is it scary?
It's a little bit scary. Yes, I know you, because your dear wife and my dear wife went to see it, and they really enjoyed it. And
but they've got twisted minds, though.
I just thought it was really good. If you're looking for a really good horror film, I think this is probably the best of the year. Okay. And it is just a superb young actress called Sienna Numba, who I just thought was just superb, and I think she's going to be a major star in the future.
Highly recommended, as are all the films in Jamie's top 10 of 2016. Number 6 is Arrival. Now, tell us more.
This is about an alien spaceship just turning up on Earth. There's just quite a few just turn up around.
But it sounds like a familiar tale.
Yeah.
We've had
seen
Independence Day.
It is an Independence Day. It's very, very different. It's extremely well written. It's science fiction again from an intelligent side, like we had with Midnight Special earlier on.
This is science fiction
10.
Making us think.
Yes, it is, and it's about an elite team of linguists. Led by Amy Adams and Jeremy Renner, and they go and try and communicate with these aliens to try and find out why they're actually here, these big spaceships all over the world. And it's causing a lot of confusion, because at the end of the day, we don't talk to each other enough. We're not one collective people, are we? We're all different countries and everything. Okay. So the Russians are expecting it in a different way. The Chinese are approaching it in a different way. The South African people
it's looking at humanity.
So it's looking at humanity British approach to what is actually going on, and I think it might actually set off a Third World War. It is superb. It is really well put together. It is the way it brings together mankind, but the story isn't all about that. It's told a little bit in flashback, and it's got a twist at the end where I never saw coming, and it made me sob. I cried. I cried my eyes out.
Oh, Jamie. Now, obviously most of these films aren't at the cinema anymore.
Yeah.
But some of these, clearly they're going to be, there's loads of different ways to watch films at a later time, when they come out on disc or on demand or whatever. Is this still a big science fiction film? Is this still going to stand up on the small screen?
Yes,
or as big,
it will. It will. It isn't one of those ones where, like a Star Wars, where it's got a load of special effects and shooting and stuff. This is character driven. This is all about those people trying to communicate with those aliens. I just think it's superb, and it really stood out for me as probably one of the best written films of the year, I think.
Oh, right, okay. That's Arrival. Number 6 then in Jamie's top 10. What's at your number 5?
Number 5 is a film that came out really early in the year, back in January time, and it's called Room. You might recognise it.
No, I've heard about this, but this is another... You've obviously gone for an emotional list here, Jamie, because I've heard that this is...
Because, this made me cry.
Is it right? So... Now, this is another one with a big twist, and another one where not everything is as it seems. I haven't plucked up the courage to watch this just yet, but tell me more. Sorry.
Well, it's about a young girl. It's about the story of Jack. He's a 5-year-old and his mother. They've been trapped in this room basically because she was kidnapped when she was a teenager. And she'd been kept there for about 12, 15 years. And she'd had a child to the person who had abducted her as well. But what she's done in this room with this 5-year-old is make up. It's this expanded universe thing that they're the only two people that exist.
They're living in a room. That's the idea.
That is the idea. But they actually then escape, and she actually gets him to escape, and they come back, and it's about them adjusting back into the world and him realising what the world actually is. It isn't just the stories that his mum's told him. It is fantastic. This is a beautiful
It does
film.
sound like a wonderful idea.
It is. It's brilliant.
I've just got to pluck up the emotional courage to go and see it.
Brie Larson is going to be a huge actress. She's in King Kong, the Skull Island King Kong next year.
Okay.
She's also going to be in Captain Marvel, which is going to be a new Marvel film. She's going to be a superpower. She's going to be, but she's been mainly in independent films, but she's a fantastic actress. She actually got an Oscar for this, and it's a film that will stay with you for a very long time. It's an emotional film. It's also quite fun as well, because the lad who's in it, Jacob Tremblay, is brilliant. He's superb. He got nominated for Golden Globes and everything as well. Didn't get an Oscar nomination, which I thought was a little bit strange. But this is a film that will stay with you, and I absolutely adored it. I thought it was fantastic. Okay, so number 4, Finding Dory. Now, this is the sequel, of course, to Finding Nemo. So if you've ever wondered why Dory and Marlin actually bumped into each other, what was happening at that time, and it isn't about... She doesn't go missing. They don't go and find her. It's about her finding herself, because, of course, she's got short-term memory loss. And it is brilliant. It is so good. The characters are really well put together. The story is very, very funny. And I just think it's just Pixar at its very, very best. I mean, it's just brilliant animation, superb. But why did it take 13 years to make the sequel?
Well, the good thing comes to those who wait. You've also picked another animation at number 3.
I have, which is another Disney one, actually, called Zootropolis. Now, this came out...
Yes, to tell us why this one has caught your attention.
This one, for me, is just superb for the simple reason that it isn't like a normal Disney film. It's it's animals who are talking, it's about a bunny and a fox, and you just think, all right, okay. But this is like a 1980s buddy cop movie. It's about them two investigating a crime. It is really, really funny. It is some great gags, especially for the kids and the adults. I thought there's a load of gags for the adults, which I think that's how an animation really works. If you're going to be dragged there by your kids to watch something, you want to be entertained as much as they do. So this is a typical a typical family movie, and I think this stands out for it. I really want to see a sequel. I hope they do it because I want to see Nick Wilde, who's the fox, and Judy Hopps, who's the bunny, working together again, because this is absolutely superb and a must-buy for anybody.
And give us your number 2 and your number 1, if you can.
Well, number 2 for me is Kubo and the Two Strings, another animation, and this is set in Japan, and it's made by the people who made, The Nightmare Before Christmas and the Box Trolls and all that. So it's a stop frame animation, and it is absolutely brilliant. It's set in a small village about a young boy who's grown up, and then suddenly becomes known that he has these powers to be able to play this guitar and be able to control the seas and the air and everything like that. The animation is superb. It's got some really good voice actors in. Charlize Theron's in there, Ray Fiennes is in there, Matthew McConaughey, and it's brilliant. A little bit too scary for younger children, but really check it out.
Okay, Kubo and the Two Strings, never heard of that one, but thank you, Jamie. And number 1, I'll tell you then, Jamie, you've picked Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Give me 3 words why this is your number 1 film of the year.
Because it is basically Star Wars. It is everything about it. It's the prequel to A New Hope. It is just a superb film. Excellent performances.
This is more than 3 words. This is more than 3 words, Jamie.
I can't, but it's just a brilliant story. It really links into the original Star Wars film, so you can actually watch this and then watch the next one. And it's basically a war movie, and it's quite unforgiving. It's very different from anything. There ain't any Jedis in there. It's not all about the Force, but you do get to see Darth Vader.
Jamie,
you do get to see the Death Star.
I'm going to cut you down with your excitement in tow there. Jamie Kelwick, thank you ever so much, Jamie, for joining us today.